you got here?
Oh, 2 for 3 came through earlier, so I got a little extra.
So what's this, like your little personal thing?
What? No, that's, we can share that. You can have some of that if you want. That's like just in case we run out.
Well, welcome back to Harbor. That was a scene from the new film, or coming out film, Newlyweds, directed by Shaka King, which premiered at this year's Sundance Film Festival and is being released for general distribution in September. Newlyweds explores the influence of marijuana use on a young couple trying to make it. Well, Shaka King's the director of Newlyweds, and Joshua Du Bois is a former Obama advisor and contributor to the Daily Beast. Shaka, thanks for joining us. This thing that I hear about, but I don't know much about, drugs and incarceration, the huge incarceration percentage of young African Americans. Of course, this is all in the context of attitudes about the criminal justice system right now. Your thoughts, what your movie says?
Well, I don't think my movie speaks specifically to that epidemic, but I think that the high incarceration rates are just really just another example and symptom of institutional racism and white supremacy. I think it's the reason you're seeing so many young black men in jail now is the confluence of racist criminal justice system, racist law enforcement, racist education system, racist healthcare system, and these things are racist and classist, and the two are intertwined. So I feel like the reason that you're seeing those high incarceration rates, besides the draconian drug laws, are just a confluence of the confluence of white supremacy, really.
Do you think that police officers do stop and frisk or any other kind of exercise in order to capture young men on drug charges?
Well, I think that they do it the police do stop and frisk, I think, to get them in the system and to really to infect our minds and to make us believe that that's where we belong and then this is the way we should be treated. The last time I was approached by the cops, they asked me 2 questions. They asked me, where are the drugs? Not, do you have any drugs on you? Where are the drugs? And they asked me, when was the last time you were arrested? And the only time I've ever seen a jail cell was when I was kidnapped by the cops when I was in 11th grade. I got very offended, obviously, and to me, quite frankly, and not to use, I hope I'm not using inappropriate language on your show, but to me, actions like those are far worse than like calling me a honestly. And I watching the Trayvon Martin trial, it just was a greater example of that. Folks talked about how that was, how race might not have been a factor, but to me, we're living under black belt, 8th degree black belt racism. You know what I mean? Whereas Jim Crow was like yellow belt racism. Like it's racism where like you hit me and I take 20 steps away and then I die.
Shaka, thank you. Hold on now. I want to hold your thought. Joshua Du Bois, you're with the White House for all those months. What do you make of this question of drugs? Because I think it didn't come into this trial, but I think it seems like it's a big reason I'm hearing that there's so many young blacks in jail, and it's just a fact we ought to look at.
Yeah, it gets back to how we see young African American men and boys in this country, and that's related to the Zimmerman trial. I mean, the fact of the matter is, when George Zimmerman looked at Trayvon Martin, he saw a nameless, faceless hoodie. He didn't see a young boy with hopes and dreams. He didn't see a son, a brother, a nephew. He saw some kid that was, to him, seemed aggressive or suspicious. And then a few minutes later, he shot that kid in the chest. And unfortunately, there are a lot of folks that are like George Zimmerman. They're not monsters, but they just don't understand young African American men and boys. And then folks from all different races and backgrounds. I wrote about this in a piece for Newsweek called "The Fight for Black Men." And I think it's a wake-up call where not only do we have to extend more empathy, we've got to get to know and get to like young African-American men.
I'll have both you gentlemen back on again. By the way, I'm very proud my son Michael's involved with Shaka in this great film that's coming out in September. Thanks for coming on, both you guys. We'll have you back. We didn't have enough time for this thoughtful discussion, or to have a thoughtful discussion. We'll be right back after this.